Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Ellen. So today is Friday, and on Fridays we do florals. Let's get into some loose floral Fridays that are fall colors. Yes. My desk is a little bit messy. I go over this step by step, super loose, how I use it, what brushes I use, and actually techniques on using brushes. Using brushes in different ways will create some really loose florals and leaves and stems, etc., etc. I also give you like a little reference so that I kind of took off Pinterest just for the colors. You will actually see that the flowers don't even look anything like the reference photo. And that's the whole point of like inspiration. You're supposed to find something that for colors, maybe shape, all that stuff, but actually don't paint the exact same thing. Also, if you're a Patreon member, you get a bonus at the end. Keep watching for Patreon members. There's a bonus floral technique to show you at the end. So if you're a Patreon member, you get that bonus. If you're not a Patreon member, consider joining. I have ad-free videos, traceables, exclusive tutorials, and a live stream in the top tier. Also a Facebook group where we share our paintings. I have weekly challenges and monthly giveaways over there. And Patreon members get first dibs on watercolor workshops and retreats, so it's a nice little perk. And you can check out all the information in the link listed below in the description box. Hit those words down here that say show more, and the box drops down and you will find the link. So without further ado, let's get painting a loose fall floral. All right, let me go over some supplies I'll be using. Of course, paper. I'm using Arch 100% cotton cold press. This is the green pad. I'll be playing with my Princeton 12 Neptune series and my 8 long round from Velvet Touch series. And I just put a link in for some, fall flowers you can see on Pinterest. I have this one. I'm kind of looked at the colors. I don't like I'm choosing not to use a cylinder vase. This looks more like a bell jar. I'm just going to do a simple, like a half round, half moon kind of vase. And I don't necessarily know if I'll do glass, but I might do glass. I don't know. Playing around with the colors. So I'll put a link in here for like strokes that are great and easy to use for loose florals. But this is basically how you can create them. I basically also standing up as well. I just kind of drew, like I said, drew in this like half moon here. And you see the colors here. And we're going to just play with painting, basically drawing with the watercolor itself and playing with some colors. So obviously you see some oranges and blushes and yellows. Let's make some of those colors. I have the cadmium red light. I'll add some bright rose to that. Get a nice pretty blush color. Or you can add more cadmium red light to it to change up the color a little more. Yellows. Now I got my bright cadmium yellow deep, but I don't want to keep it that bright. You might want to change it a little bit. Can add some burnt umber, or this is burnt sienna to it, just to tone it down a bit. That's more like a fall rustic kind of yellow. And of course, if you water it down, it becomes different color. I'm gonna get this burnt sienna loose. We're gonna be painting the flowers first. So we can do some like plum kind of colors. So maybe some Prussian blue and some of that bright rose. It's going to be purple. And we could throw in, grab some more of that bright rose. Or it could be magenta, quinacridone magenta. So I've got the purple color. I'm going to add a little bit of this red. Let's see what happens. Ooh. I love playing with color. Ooh, it's kind of brown, right? I'll go back and add some of that purple. The pink bright rose. And we have more of a plum kind of burgundy color. Play around with that. Get rid of some of this purple. So I'm just going to start putting down color, right? And I got purple in there. I got kind of messed up my color a little bit. I'll just take a little napkin here. The rose and the red. More of a blush tone. All right, so I'm taking the number 12 brush. The color can be loose, really light by adding more water. And I'm just gonna do some simple strokes, right? You can just kind of push down on your brush, just like that. Boom. Now that's kind of puddling because it's very loose paint. You want a little thicker, add less water, or tap it on your paper towel. See, I'm just kind of pushing down here. Again, pushing down. Little marks with the tip. Kind of wiggling it. You have this nice little flower. It doesn't have to be this perfect flower. You have these like dahlias and mums. You can play around with that color. I'm going to mix some of that with the yellow here. Just going to kind of loosely push down and leave a little space in between. You got these kind of petals that are kind of winging this way. You see that? You're just kind of moving it. Let's kind of have them loose, kind of coming this way. I don't want to make it as tight as the picture. I'm just using it for colors and reference of like what flowers look like, right? So I've got 1, 2. I'll do another one here. They're kind of a combination of like a sunflower. See, just use this tip. Push down lightly. You don't have to bang your paper. Wiggle it backwards like that. So we got off to a great start here. Some yellows. I really want some more blush tones. Gonna go in here. You can just kind of put some more of that blush. I'll wiggle up. Now I'm gonna grab that purple. A little more blue. And I'll grab some magenta that's up here. So, again with this brush, maybe you're just gonna push. I don't know if I want this brush necessarily. I might switch a brush. Just gonna push down, kind of create these blooms. A little bit thicker. Get that purple color. I'm gonna switch this brush actually. I don't want the super point. So maybe I'll play with a filbert brush or a overwash brush. And I will grab a small filbert. Where are you? Where am I looking for it? This is a nice 16 filbert Princeton Select. Grabbing that magenta and a Prussian blue. Put a little brown in there. Mixing it all up back again. The color to get that plumish kind of color. I already kind of just did that. Now you can just kind of like wiggle this, push it on its side. Got these nice little petals. Use a filbert. That's a little bit deeper, darker than I want it to go, but it'll work. Adding some more magenta, get a little pinker. And I'm going to put some down here. Different brushes can create nice little strokes. I don't know if you can see this one. Just kind of pushing it like that. And I'm going to push down here. Pushing down and swiping and using the chisel edge. Creating another flower. See that? And we'll do another one kind of like over here. Simple. This is the beginning of the flowers. We're going to add the greenery in a bit. I'm going to mix up some like orange color. It's getting a little muddy. So what you do is you clean your brush. Got the yellow and the cadmium red light. So now it's more of an orange again. Kind of bright. Yellow. I'll put some of that right in here. Again, mixing that. And I think I want more of that red color. So let's get that in here. Little taps over here, see? Tippy taps. Do I want one kind of falling downward here? So I'm just twisting my brush. So that's the beginning of the flowers. Now I'm going to start working on some greenery. I'll take my Princeton 8 long round velvet series, grab some of that lovely peacock, mix it in with this yellow here. See, use the colors that are there. It's perfectly fine. Let's get a nice green. It's like a medium green. Get a little brown with adding that orange color. And we're going to use this tip. I'm just going to play with bending and twisting the stems. See this? And then put some kind of like falling down here. Wiggling, falling down, coming out here. You want the movement to go around, right? I might have to put some way up here. Just like that. Just kind of moving it around. Just the skinny stem part. Put some up here. I might add a little more yellow. Get a little brighter. Again, just playing with the stem part. We're going to put some more leaves kind of going down in here also. So while you have the skinny brush, do some skinny little leaves. I'm just going to wiggle this back and forth, creating some little skinny little baby leaves. Right? Do more stems and even tinier leaves. Use this as a compound stroke. Push down, pull up. Push down, pull up. You get some nice leaves. Push down, pull back up. If you're leaving a lot of white space, it's because it's not wet enough. You need more water, so it's filled in. Otherwise, it's going to have like the dry brush look. So I'm going to push down, pull back, twist it, turn it, do some more little stems, and you get some nice little leaves in here. So we're building and building. We want that really loose kind of like open bouquet. And I just used that photograph for colors, not necessarily actually everything that you see. I'll keep going here and adding some more loose stems here. And then of course in the vase itself, I'll paint that in afterwards, kind of at the end. And here we're going to add not just this bright greens, we're going to add way more colored greens. That's just a start. So take the same filbert brush, maybe add some ultramarine blue. It's going to change the color of that green. Oops, that's a little too much blue. That's okay. We can work with it. So now it's very blue. I'll go back and add some yellow. It's more of a sagey green. If you hear that noise, it's a damn fly that got into my studio. There we go. Now I'm going to water this down. Going to push down. Get a different type of leaf with this brush. Right? On the chisel end, on the front end, playing. And of course the color of the leaves is totally different. Could do a big leaf here. Play with the brush on all sides. Pushing down like that. Just filling in this section here. Just doing some push marks. It's got a rounded tip. So you can kind of twist it, use the chisel in, all that good stuff. Gonna get even darker with my green. I'm adding some Prussian blue, some burnt sienna. I'm going back, add some more yellow. Do some burnt umber too. Even darker, more blue. Now I'm going to go back and use the number 12 to make some really big leaves. You can see it's more blue. Add a little bit of color in here. All right. Just wiggling the brush to get a really big leaf here and over here. So kind of cascading down. Put some in here. I think I'm going to put another big leaf over here. You can go right on top of your green because it's lighter. You can't do the opposite. Right, and you can go over here. Getting on top of that, just a big old green leaves. You can add some brown. Gonna just remove some of this green. So we can use our burnt sienna and burnt umber. Why not make some leaves brown? Because it is a fall bouquet. Throw in some brown leaves, like so. Just pushing down on my brush a little bit here and there. Put a big one up in here and over here. See, it's all filling in now. One darker, add some Paynes gray. Gonna add some brown leaves kind of sticking out here. And maybe a few little stragglers kind of happening over here. Okay. Now I'm going to fill in the vase. For the vase color, I'm going to use ultramarine blue and burnt sienna to make my gray. And the more blue, the more bluish gray, the more burnt sienna, the more brownish gray. So I'm going back in and adding the ultramarine blue. It's a nice way to mix up your grays. Watering it down so it becomes lighter, and tap it on your paper towel to get that really light color. Otherwise, you see, get a nice glass. You can kind of make it look like glass. So here's the actual vase. Just did a swoop, like a half moon. Gonna kind of fill it in here. Water this down. Kind of just wiggle it and fill it in. Here is like a little bottom part of it, and then of course the bottom part. That's my vase. Really just simple. You're suggesting the vase. You don't have to be perfect painting like some really intricate vase. I'm just kind of filling it in a little bit. Now I might wait till it dries and add a little bit more dark color here. See, I'm adding a little dark color on this side as opposed to this side. You can put a little line here. Get some more depth. Don't want to make it too complicated. Kind of fill this in over here. Right now you can say, well, it's pretty much almost done, right? Somewhat. I do want to make the vase come back over here a little bit. A little bit wider than it is. Fill in this gray part. There. So now at this point you can add in some more details if you want. Little skinny marks. Splatter a little bit. Maybe the plum splattering would be kind of pretty. Up in here. Don't do too much of it. I'll take my Princeton 8 long round and I'll go through and I'll add in some more greenery. I like this bright chartreuse color. So I'm just going to kind of peek some of that in here. Again, wiggle like little teeny leaves. Even coming down here in the front. These are all the things you just do to add, right, at the end. And your flowers can get a little more depth because right now we just had one kind of flat note of color. I'm wiggling some greenery in here. And we want to make them more, they have some more life to them. So, I'm going to move some of this plum here, get that blush color back. So it was the cadmium red light. Oh, my brush is a little dirty. And the bright rose. So I'm getting a little bit darker. And go back in here and just kind of wiggle in some more depth with that color. See, I'm just going to add some of that. And over here on one side, you can even take that color and just kind of tap it around some of the greenery here. So they can be like little buds. But you see how it just changed that one little flower. I'm going to get even a little thicker with the paint and the color. And just do some line. Wiggle, wiggle. Boom. With the red, you can add a little depth, add a little bit more thicker red. Just to fill that in. Remember, these are just loose flowers and not specific type of flowers. So you don't have to get real detailed with that. And with the orange, well, just add a deeper orange color. Oop, too much green got in here. My palette's kind of a mess. Anyway, a prettier orange. And you can kind of go wiggle it in here. So it has more depth to it. It's just one flat color. You see how it made a difference? Just adding those little lines, kind of wiggling in around your actual flower that you did before. I'm just wiggling with my brush and barely touching the paper. Doing this back and forth kind of wiggle. Going around that shape. And that's all you do. You can add veins to your leaves. Simple like that. If it's still damp, this one, I don't know if I can scrape the white out of it. It's kind of fun to play with taking a credit card and scraping. Now you might want to do that when it's wet dip. Mine's done. It dried, so I'd have to go back in and add a nice deep dark brown, excuse me, green to really get the veins in there. Just go add them in there. You don't have to add the veins if you don't want to. It's kind of a nice touch. But this is how I just kind of go about doing a loose floral for fall. And of course, I'm going to put a little shadow on the bottom there. So wiping all this mess away. I'll go back with my ultramarine blue and burnt sienna. Get a nice gray. And see how I made it much darker on this side. I'm just going to tilt my paper. Do like a nice shadow. Simple. Come back a little bit here. And then I would make the vase a little bit darker again. Kind of here. On this side. See? It's a simple shadow. If you want to put like a couple of little simple floral petals on the ground, you can do that. Maybe some like fell. Even the pink. Make a nice little petal and some greenery. It's always a nice little touch. Maybe some greenery over here. Adding a little fun to your picture. That's it. And there's a couple little holes kind of in here. You can kind of just fill in with some deeper color. Ultramarine blue, even Paynes gray or whatever. Just kind of fill this in. Or you want to add some more color to it, like the orange or even yellow. You can kind of just tap in little sections that are not filled in. And then you have a simple, loose fall floral. That's how I go about it. It's really simple, just moving the brush around. Play with it, play with your brush, you know, move them around. Play with moving the colors off the page. You can get some more, you know, rustic browns and rustic yellows in here than what I did. You can add a little bit of yellow in the center of these purple flowers. It's kind of fun. I didn't do that in the other ones, but add them in there. And that's it. So I hope this was fun. I hope you'll learn something. Really just go loose. Move your hand around. The brushes dictate it. Using a fat number 12. Simple little lines here. Moving it this way. Using the number 8 long round for skinny little marks for your stems. And just, you know, if you have a nice beautiful filbert, play with that, chisel in and play, just moving the brush like this and that. So thank you so much for stopping by my channel. I hope you have fun painting florals. We're getting into that season, so I'll be doing a lot more of these. So take care, and I'll speak to you soon.